Derek here. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok at Rev Derek Terry. Thank you so much for following. Also, special shout out to Patreon. If you are one of my patrons, you get to see this video before anyone else. And thank you so much for all the support in helping to create content to eradicate racism and racial violence. Thank you so much to my patrons who support. Today, we are looking at music in the civil rights movement. And so without further ado, let's get started with today's work.
I woke up this morning with my man set on freedom. I woke up this morning with my man, Lord, set on freedom. I woke up this morning with my man, set on freedom. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. I'm walking and talking with the man, set on freedom. I'm walking and talking with my man, Lord, set on freedom. I'm walking and talking with my man, set on freedom. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Walk, 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 you gotta talk, talk, 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 you gotta talk, 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 cause it ain't no harm to keep your mind set on freedom. It ain't no harm to keep your mind, Lord, set on freedom. It ain't no harm to keep your mind set on freedom. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Awesome. That song, Woke Up This Morning, is just a prime example of the work of the movement, the freedom songs in the movement. I really want to focus on that idea of freedom songs. These are songs that were usually old or traditional hymns or spirituals or gospel music, where the lyrics were changed to really make sense or to really propel the movement forward. Whatever was going on, the words might be changed on the spot in order to do that. And so Woke Up This Morning with My Mind Stayed on Freedom was a song, a congregational song, a call and response song in many black churches. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Jesus. And so, shout out to the freedom singers who propelled that forward. Music was extremely important in the civil rights movement. Not only did it provide a soundtrack for the movement, but it provided a pulse. It brought the people together in hope, in solidarity. They literally, there are videos you can see people singing on their way to jail, people singing in jail. While they were in jail, that was a way for people to communicate. One, the men may sing one verse or one chorus to let the women know in the other part of the jail that they were okay, and then the women will respond with their own version of that song or another song. Many of us know that in slavery days, it was very common for music to be used to signal let's go or what to do. Follow the drinking gourd, a song, or follow the Big Dipper, the constellation, or Steal Away to Jesus, Steal Away Home, Let's Go, we're moving out tonight, or whatever song was agreed upon. And so music in the African American community and the black community has always been extremely important, extremely powerful, and really does provide that pulse that propels forward, that binds people, brought people together. Music not only was that pulse that brought people together, but music helped to ease tension. Music helped to offer support. The harmony not only represented in the music, but in the people coming together and bringing people together. It didn't matter if you couldn't sing, if you were marching, everybody could hum, or everyone could clap and ad-lib, and it was extremely important. And so, just going to play some of the freedom songs. This is by no means an extensive list. We're only looking at 3 or 4 songs. So I want you to go on YouTube, find freedom songs, look at the staple singers, not just freedom songs, but look at folk music. I suggested in the video that I did about Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech to go on there, go on Google and look up the singers and look at the videos of them singing that day. Music was extremely important to the movement. Today I'm talking about freedom songs. Those were the songs that people were singing out while they were marching, while they were in jail, while they were getting locked up. But there was movement songs on the radio. Sam Cooke's A Change Gonna Come, the staple singers, It's a Long Walk to DC. All these songs were extremely important to the movement, and you should be familiar with all of them. In our anti-racist work, it's important because every movement needs a soundtrack. You can find out what the people were thinking, how the people were feeling, what the people were doing by studying what they were listening to. And so, what are we listening to now? What is motivating us now? Whether we want to believe it or not, we are in the middle of a movement. The momentum is behind us to eradicate racism and racial violence through this education, but also through direct action. And so what is the soundtrack? What are we listening to? What are the messages? The Kendrick Lamars, the Janelle Monáe. What are we listening to? What's going to help us to move the movement forward? So woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom, and I want to share this story with you. Fannie Lou Hamer was an amazing organizer and speaker, a down-home sharecropper in Mississippi. She lived in Ruleville. In the early 1960s, people were going through and working to register people to vote. And Fannie Lou Hamer decided that, she was going to try to register to vote. The story goes that there was a school bus full of African Americans who rode the school bus to the county seat in order to try to register to vote. Understand at this time in history, in Mississippi, in certain states, everything was done to keep people from voting. From fear and intimidation, to poll taxes, to guess the number of jelly beans in the jar, to taking really hard literacy tests, asking really specific questions about how government worked and the Constitution and all kinds of things, just to make it more difficult for black people to vote. Not only that, but it was dangerous. Literally, you could be beat, you could be lynched, you could be shot, terrorized for trying to vote. And so this school bus full of farmers on their way to the county seat to attempt to vote. And the story is that the tension was thick. I mean, thick. The tension was thick on the school bus. The story says that Fannie Lou Hamer, in that old Southern church-going cadence, started singing, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine." And as she sang, to make ourselves feel better. That cut the tension, made everybody else feel better on their way. And that's just a prime example of what music does in the movement. The movement needs music, and it really helped to provide that pulse and give people that courage. The next song I want us to listen to, Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around. I want you to go ahead and check this song out, and then we'll talk about the meaning of that.
In 1962, in my hometown, we were engaged in a very intense struggle against racial segregation. And there were mass jailings. At one point, a federal judge issued an injunction with names on it of the people they thought were the leaders of the movement. Reverend Samuel Wells was in Shiloh Baptist Church that night, and he said, I'm not going to let no injunction turn me round. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. Wait, I know this is a show, but you have to actually sing this song. You can never tell when you might need it. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land.
Powerful song, right? So imagine people out there, you know, facing water hoses, facing dogs, facing persecution, facing probable prosecution, facing, you know, they might be arrested. And the whole time, ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round, ain't gonna let nobody. Of course, what you just heard was a lot better than me. But you didn't have to sing these freedom songs. But it's a testimony. It's a reminder. Hey, we're in this together. Come on, I'm singing, you're humming, and the beauty of these freedom songs is the same beauty in the church is they were simple to sing. They were simple to catch on. It's not a difficult song with a lot of words. It's something that after you've listened to it a time, you've picked up the tempo and how it goes, and then the call and response of ain't gonna let nobody, ain't gonna let no sheriff, ain't gonna let no jailhouse, ain't gonna let no whatever, then you know how it goes. And all you gotta do is switch out that one word. And that's indicative of the freedom songs, is that it's simple, it's catchy, and that's the same way in the early black church. Understand, the early black church, choirs did not come about until like the 1940s and 50s in churches. Most time before that, it was congregational singing. And prior to that, a lot of people may have been in the church, may have had different levels of literacy. Churches really weren't big on having hymnals rather. So you would have to pick up the song. And so that's the same tradition that we see in these freedom songs. The next one I want us to look at is another song that's a spiritual that found its way from the church to the movement. And again, it makes perfect sense. The church was so important in the movement. It was the foundation. It was the meeting space. It was where black people had their power, had their wealth. At one point in history, every black person was connected to a church in some way. Maybe if they didn't go, their mother went, their family went. There was a family church, so and so just that connection, those songs would be inside of them. Going back again to the plantation, going back even before that to the continent, to Africa, the importance of rhythm and music. And so it makes perfect sense that those gospel songs that people would know the tune of could very easily change or tweak to match the movement. So the next one, over my head, traditional words, over my head, I hear music in the air. There must be a God somewhere. Of course, from the freedom movement, freedom in the air, or justice in the air, or love in the air, or peace in the air. And it's more of a prayer to God. There must be a God somewhere. It's there. And so this is the prayer in these freedom songs.
Oh, my head, I see freedom in the air. Over my head, I see freedom in the air. Over my head, I see freedom in the air. There must be a God somewhere.
Last but not least, what's extremely important, one of the most important songs in the movement, probably the song that we most associate with the movement, is the call, is the prayer, is the plea almost to each other, to God, but not only just a plea, but a declaration, a reminder that where we are right now is not where we're going to stay. And that's the song, We Shall Overcome. It has been adopted by movements since the Civil Rights Movement. People all over the world, in their respective languages, know this song. And the tune is the same. The lyrics, and of course the language, will be different. But it's that simple timing that, again, enables you to easily switch out the words, and for those around you to pick up on it. And so it's such a beautiful song, such a simple song to play, such a simple song to sing, but it's so powerful. What is that declaration? What does overcoming look like today, 2021, or in our current generation? What are we overcoming? Economic disparities? Yep. Racism? Absolutely. Xenophobia? Absolutely. Classism? Absolutely. Environmental justice? Absolutely. These are all issues that we have. In your journal, think about those. What are some of the things that we need to overcome today? We'll close with this song. We shall overcome. We will walk hand in hand. God will see us through. This song is a prayer. It's a declaration. And it's also a reminder that tomorrow is not determined by how bad it is today.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. My Lord, we shall overcome someday. We